Hi, parents. So, term test is right around the corner, and this video provides tips that can help you prepare your child to get a better grade this time around. Hi. Welcome to the channel Everything Parenting and More. It's a space provided for parents, teachers, guardians, and anyone who is thinking about parenting. Anyone who is interested in raising our future generation. Here we dive into real issues that affect families, like parenting challenges, emotional well-being, physical health, spiritual balance, and so much more. The goal is simple: to give practical advice, encouragement, and strategies that can help raise confident kids and build stronger families. So if you are a parent or someone interested in shaping the next generation, then this channel is for you. Subscribe today and click the notification bell as we learn, share, and grow together. Point number one. Okay, parents. So some of you would have had children who were absent during the term. One of the things that you need to do, or I hope you do it like now, get the work that your child would have missed, especially those who would have been absent the last few weeks before tests, especially the last week parents. The last week is so important because whatever might come for the exam or some topics that the teachers want to test to see how much you remember, they normally do it that last week, parents. And some teachers even use that last week to tie up loose ends. So if your child was absent, make sure you get those missing notes. Next point, parents. Okay, make sure you have the timetable and revise with your child wisely. Meaning, if a test, let us say social studies is the last test, do not take this weekend just, doing everything about social studies and you're forgetting what you get on Monday. What test is being tested on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? So you do a little, a little, a little. Okay, parents? Now, instead of just sending your child to revise, especially if your child cannot read, if your child cannot read, parents, you have to find the time and sit and do that revision with your child. For example, subjects like social studies, science, vocabulary, sit, go over the notes with them and quiz them. All right. So you read it and then you ask, when did we celebrate independence? You understand? And you quiz your child. And parents, revising with your child save time and it make it better. When I mean better, okay, sometimes some parents and children to do revision, and then when you look in, they're probably playing game or something like that. So if you want that time to be maximized, you sit and you do the revision with the child. Okay. Now, let us take into consideration mathematics. Yes, you have to learn your formulas and you have to learn your tables and stuff like that. But mathematics is a practical subject. You have to do, you have to practice. All right. So one thing you need to do, you look and you look into their notebooks, you see what topics they did. The mathematics exam is not going to it's not going to be on one area. You have different strands. Just 1 second. Okay, so mathematics is a big area. It's a different subject. The way you would learn your tables, but you have to practice mathematics and not do it like how you would do your social studies and your science. So you must get your past exam papers for your child. And yes, Kitty wants to come in, but Kitty cannot come in. So practice past paper questions at this last hour, look and see what your child has gotten wrong. Check out the weekly test copybooks. If you have that in your possession, check out the weekly test copybooks. You don't have the weekly test copybooks, look at the back of the textbooks and see how the questions are structured, if they have practice exercises at the back of that book. Yeah, you have, well, a mathematics test, primary school, you're thinking in terms of numeration, you would have something to do with numbers, whether it's addition, check what they did during the term, if it's tens and ones, place value and all of that, something on measurements, if they did, volume or length or stuff like that, check because different strands will be tested. If they did statistics, check that, what they did in statistics. If they did money, check that. So a question supposed to come on each area. All right. When we're thinking about grammar is based on the school. Sometimes the school might test for the higher levels language arts, and language arts incorporates um, your grammar, comprehension, vocabulary, everything, right? So check the grammar, look and see what was done. That is why it is so important to send your children to school, and that is why it is so important to get the work that the child has missed. Grammar. So look at your parts of speech, nouns, verbs, adjectives, pronouns, etc., what the child actually did. Look at and nouns is a big area. So you have your possessive nouns, your collective nouns, your gender nouns, collective nouns. You need to learn that. Gender noun, need to know masculine and feminine of different gender, etc., etc. Um, Nouns again, singular and plural, the different rules for adding s or es to make a noun plural, um, punctuation, sentences starting with a capital letter and ending with a full stop, question mark, or exclamation. Look and see what your child did. Some probably would have done comma, some probably did not do comma. You also check capital letters where use it to start a sentence, but there are other rules that the child would have done during the term. For the names of persons, names of places, special places, um, months of the year, days of the week, check, check, check. Also, there's a next topic in nouns, common nouns, proper nouns. You understand, parents? So you that is why you have to be there guiding the process to make it beneficial and to maximize revision time, right? And you also look for the get activities for them. If you don't have because remember this is the first term test that the children would have been doing in this at this particular level. So if you don't have the weekly test, as I said, look at the back of the book, look at exercises in the textbook, and let the child get some practice doing these things. Vocabulary, basically parents, synonyms, words similar in meaning. I have a synonym video on my channel. Um, Reading with Marilyn Jack. Yeah. So you have synonyms. They need to know words similar in meaning. Some children get mixed up with opposites and synonyms. And so the trick is, if you are giving them multiple choice questions as an educator, you would put you would put the answer, something close to the answer, and something totally opposite. And so children who don't really understand words that are opposite in meaning, if they're getting multiple choice, and they have to do synonyms, they would choose something that's opposite in meaning, or opposite, they would choose a synonym. That's if they're getting it. Or they probably might give two words in a sentence and you have to identify the two words that are similar. There are lots of ways that the testing can come. The main thing is for your child to actually know their opposites, their synonyms, their homophones, words that are similar, words that sound the same, have the same, um, they sound the same, have the same, they have different spelling and they have different meaning. So you wrap up your homophones according to the class your child is in. They might do homographs. They probably might throw in some compound words. It depends. Look at the textbook. That's what I say. Look at the copybook. So parents, you are the one guiding this process, preparing your child. And by you guiding this process, parents, you would see where your child needs help. Now, let me put in a plug here, where your social studies and science is concerned. Parents, let your child, a nice test, read the sentence for me and see if your child can read the notes. Because sometimes our children are, I call them photocopying machine. It's very easy to copy the work from the board. Can you read it? Can you read what you have written? And so, parents, by you doing the revision with your child, you would get a clear understanding as to where your child is at in terms of reading what is in front of him or her. Um, Comprehension, check out the comprehension, what was done, what kind of questions are being asked. Is it just literal or is it inferential, evaluative, critical thinking questions? Look and see how the questions have been structured. There are certain things, look and see what figurative language the child would have covered during the term. You might see that popping up for poetry. So if they would have done simile, they probably might have been asked to identify the simile if they did metaphor, if they did personification or onomatopoeia. Just check and see what was done. That's why I say you are the one to guide the process. All right. See what was done and do the revision with them. Okay. Another thing is you knowing where your child is at, avoid threatening your child. Um, your child don't need that extra stress doing the exam. And sometimes we put undue and unnecessary pressures on the children. Now, if your child is one who you say, come and revise, and the child is giving you a problem, or you have some parents have children who really don't obey them, but then you can say, well, this Christmas, you're not going to get anything special if you, one second, come kitty. Oh my God, say hi. Say hi. Hi. Hi, Acacia. Hi, little darling. All right, so my little kitty, as I digress, wants to go outside. Bye, Acacia. Gone. Bye. See ya. Okay, she's just with me all over. Anywhere I am, she is literally there and keeps my company. Yeah, parents. So as I was saying, you are there to guide the process. And if you have a child who is not listening, then. But if you have a child who is trying, don't threaten them to put unnecessary stress. So the child takes up the pencil and the child is just thinking, oh God, if I get this answer right, and you know that is going to work negatively for your child. Okay. So you prepare them for the exam, you tell them do your best. If you meet up something that you don't understand, leave it out. Do other questions and come back to it. There must be something on that paper that you can do, and you have to speak positiveness into their system. And parents, if you fully well know that during the revision process, because you must have a gauge as to where your child is at. If you know during the revision process that your child would need additional help later down, please provide it. All right. So if while you are doing revision, you realize, oh my God, my child needs help in reading, or my child reading but not understanding. So you probably would read, let's say, a sentence, the black cat run up the tree, and then you ask the child, what color is the cat? And the child can't tell you. So then understanding is not there. And based on your child's needs, then you would decide and you would do things to help that child. Also, parents, make use of, yes, I know I said do things to help the child, and those tips can come later down, right? All right. Make use of educational videos, YouTube, YouTube parents, take social media and use it as at your advantage. Use it. There are lots of videos on YouTube, but you have to watch the videos before because some videos give you everything. And some children are at the stage where, at the beginning stage, it's as if you're taking meat and putting it into a baby's mouth, the baby will choke. So depending on the video, because if the child watches something that is above, if your child watches something above his or her level, your child will not understand. So you look for videos suitable for your child. So if the child doesn't understand, I normally for my standard one class, I would send kindergarten videos because it break it right down. And you want it right down because you want them to understand. And once they understand the concept, the sky is the limit. Then you can look at a higher level video, parents. You understand? So you have for science, you can watch videos. So look at the topics so they can watch videos. Social studies based on the topic. If they have a social studies textbook, look at those questions and make sure your child answer a full sentence and not one word, right? So that is how you prepare your child for term tests. Parents, I wish I could have said, sit down in front of the TV and that will cover it, or just send them to do it, right? You are the one to make it happen. And that is why they say education is not just teaching, teachers, and the child is teachers, parent, and the child. And this is where you come in the revision field to make it meaningful and to get better results for your children. Oh, I forgot, creative writing. Parents, look and see what topics were coming, what topics they did, what kind of writing they have been doing. Is it narrative writing? Is it letter writing? Is it descriptive writing? What have they been doing? And let your child write something similar to what the child has been tested on. Look and see the prompt. Um, Look and see how it comes, and give them some pointers as to how to go about this creative writing. Um, Yeah, because at my level, standard one, they are describing, if they get a picture, you have to describe the setting. The setting is where the story take place. I mean, this picture is 1,000 words. Come on, so much things you can get from a picture. Describing the setting, what kind of day it is, describing the individuals, what they're doing. There's so much you can get. Some children don't have pictures. Some children have just a prompt and they have to write a story. And so the teacher would have gone over elements of writing a story, etc., etc. So look and see what was done. 9 out of 10 times, what was done will be tested. Not the same thing that they wrote on, but something similar or close to it, right, parents? And what you need to tell your child is if you did the test, if you had let's say you did a mathematics test, the first test, and the first test did not go the way you wanted to go, do not let that discourage you and dampen you for the entire day and affect your performance for the rest of the tests. You understand? So you probably might have grammar in the afternoon, or you probably might have creative writing or something like that, right? So one test you did it and you didn't like it, probably the child might be teary-eyed or whatever. So you need to talk to your child. Not because you didn't do too good or not because you didn't answer all the questions mean that you have failed the test. Okay, parents? One thing I need to mention, I don't know how many schools do it, but um, some schools have weekly tests or fortnightly tests, and this test score at the end of the term affect the overall grade of the child or the overall place. And so, parents, this is me putting in a plug here for you to ensure that during the term next year. So, if this term doesn't go well, parents, there's always next year. And this is what you have to talk to your children about. And you see, in this way, you are training them for life. So, something doesn't go well. Okay, we come to the drawing board. We say, okay, I didn't do well in tests because one, I was absent a lot. Two, I missed a lot of notes. Oh, I didn't understand, or there was many, I had many incomplete pages, and the teacher put incomplete, or, you was the child was in school, but probably preoccupied doing other things, etc., or playing and not paying attention. So, come to the drawing board, figure out why this grade, and take it from there so that next term you're not going to be absent as much. And if your child is a child who gets sick regularly, time somebody sneeze, the child gets ill, um, vitamin C, parents, vitamin C, and anything that will build and boost their immune system so that they would not be getting ill so regularly and have to be always away from school. Because when term test comes, as you would see soon, it does not take into consideration those who were ill and those who were absent and those who had whatever issue. And a great example is what happened some years ago when the world shut down. And, I don't think we could be saying that word on YouTube. And we still had SEA. Children still had to do SEA when they were home and doing things online and all of that, and just had to go to the school and do it. So don't care what is happening around, the world still spins. Things have to be done. So even though your child is ill, term test has to be done. So do what is necessary. Um, Probably a mask still, or as I say, boost their immune system. Watch what it is they're eating. Is it just corncows and stuff like that? Or are you giving them fruits, citrus fruits, when you have your oranges or your Portugal? You understand? So, and as we are on that, parents, children are not supposed to be missing term tests. So when you miss term tests, because the teachers, the educators have a certain amount of time to hand in test scripts. And it makes it very difficult because then you cannot hand in your test scripts because so miss about 4 exams, and some children probably don't get the time, or you're absent, that's it, zero, right? So let's ensure we equipped our children with the tools they need for test, your pencils and sharpeners and erasers, so they would not be borrowing from other persons, and ensure they're healthy, have a good breakfast, go to sleep a certain time, and parents, you need to take in control test week, even the week before test, but that week has gone, so that's why I'm not really talking about it. The amount of times you have them playing games on their tablets, and many of us have televisions in the room. Children have televisions in the room, and children are super smart. I call them super intelligent beings. So they would know to mute the TV and watch TV if they want to. And yes, we want to make them modern, but I think in terms of if you cannot have that kind of control to ensure TV comes off at a certain time, tablet is off at a certain time, or the child is off the phone at a certain time because you need rest to get up to go. Some parents, depending on how you're working, revision is done in the night. Some parents, it's done in the morning. You know your schedule and stuff like that. So parents, I know I've said a mouthful. If you have any other suggestions, you can, of course, put it in the comment section and we can continue the conversation below. But this is all about you and benefiting your child getting a good grade. And let's say your child gets D, just calling a letter. Let's say your child gets D, then okay, let's try for a C next time. Let's try for a C next time. All right. And but you have to be there working with them. And so this kind of revision you are doing with your child should be something that is done during the term, right? But few days for tests, this can still work. So thank you for your time, parents. Thank you for listening. And stay tuned, parents. I'm very busy. I'm super, super busy. It's not that I don't want to do videos. I do after school classes for children who really, really need help. And I'm doing so many other things like writing books and all of that. It's a lot. But of course, this channel is on my mind and term test. Term test really was on my mind. So I had to make a video about it. So thanks for listening and join me in my other video. Let's continue the conversation below. Okay, bye for now.